Thank you, Jen. The president said in the spring that Pentagon generals had briefed him that the greatest threat facing America is global warming. Is that still the assessment now that we are facing down a potential cyber war with Russia?
Well, let me first say there is no, we are always prepared for any threat that any outside entity or country poses to the United States that relates to cyber or anything else. There is no current pending threat on as it relates to cyber. In terms of the threats you're touching on, that was a briefing from the military, so I'd point you to them.
And so as far as anybody watching who's seen the coverage, it's very, at times, distressing images of Russian military movements. The number one threat facing the country right now remains global warming.
Well, Peter, I think it's important, as we're all educating the public here, to convey and reiterate the president has no intention of sending U.S. troops into Ukraine to fight in Ukraine. What we are doing is we are abiding by our obligations to our NATO allies and partners to ensure that they have the support and the resources that they need. And that is our right and our obligation as the United States.
Just so we're clear, what Peter Doocy is trying to do is obvious. He's trying to land a gotcha question on Jen Psaki for one of a couple reasons. By equating climate change with the Russian invasion in Europe, if she says climate change is more pressing, then Fox runs with this idea that while the Democrats are wailing about innocent, victimized Vladimir Putin, even the White House doesn't actually think he's that much of a threat. And conversely, if she says that the Russian invasion is more important, well then climate change must not be that big of a deal, like Democrats have been saying it is, because they're prioritizing an invasion on the other side of the world above that. In reality though, we are not 9 years old. We don't have to choose which one is a bigger threat, because both are threats and they're not mutually exclusive. Sorry if that doesn't fit neatly into Fox's propagandized worldview, but reality rarely does. And let's just take a step back for a moment. Imagine contending with these two existential threats, the possibility of the biggest ground war in Europe since World War II, God forbid, and the threats of climate change and the devastating impacts that come with it, and your priority at a purported news organization is pitting them against each other to land some type of a gotcha question, to score some political win. There is quite literally nothing more important to the right-wing media ecosystem than winning the 24-hour news cycle with the most desperate tactics possible. It's telling too that while Doocy's priority is trying to trip up Jen Psaki, his own network is actively carrying water for the guy who's launching invasions into sovereign nations. Like, Putin has delusions of grandeur, so he's decided that he's entitled to Ukraine, just like he felt he was entitled to Crimea in 2014 and Georgia in 2008, and instead of, oh, I don't know, standing up for democracy, here's what it looks like on Fox News right now.
It might be worth asking yourself, since it is getting pretty serious, what is this really about? Why do I hate Putin so much? Has Putin ever called me a racist? Has he threatened to get me fired for disagreeing with him? Has he shipped every middle-class job in my town to Russia? Did he manufacture a worldwide pandemic that wrecked my business and kept me indoors for 2 years? Is he teaching my children to embrace racial discrimination? Is he making fentanyl? Is he trying to snuff out Christianity? Does he eat dogs? These are fair questions, and the answer to all of them is no. Vladimir Putin didn't do any of that.
Yes, because Tucker wasn't personally impacted by Putin's actions, he sees no reason why we should dislike a murderous tyrant who's currently invading a sovereign nation. After all, so long as Tucker Carlson is happy, then we should all be happy. In other words, anywhere you look, Fox personalities are busy running cover for Vladimir Putin. Whether they're trying to land gotcha questions equating invasions to climate change, or straight up running puff pieces about the Russian president, it is especially telling that Fox's priority right now isn't to condemn the tyrant invading a sovereign country, but rather to oppose the people condemning the tyrant. And look, I get that Fox and Republicans love Putin because Putin admitted he wanted to see Trump win, and because Putin's entire disinformation campaign sought to help Trump get elected. And I get that Putin needs Trump and Republicans because they're key in helping him weaken NATO in the way that any useful idiot is helping anyone do anything. But all of this shows one thing. Fox and Republicans aren't interested in defending democracy, they are interested in helping themselves. And if that means they're gonna go all in to defend a murderous, power-hungry dictator because they see some tangential personal benefit, then that's what they're gonna do. Because at the end of the day, their only priority is their own pursuit of power. To see more videos like this, click the subscribe button right here on this screen. And if you want to support my work, subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. I cover the most important stories each week, and my guest is always one of the top political figures, including Vice President Kamala Harris, Jen Psaki, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, Nancy Pelosi, Katie Porter, Cory Booker, and so many more. The podcast link is also right here on this screen, so give it a listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.